All right. How does the sound? Yeti Classic.
That pirate ship up there. That TV.
Ashley likes old wood ships.
It's a cool era.
Yep.
Didn't last long in history.
No,
ones like that.
Except what I think is funny is that the some of the ships that were made in that era survived way longer than they should have. I remember hearing about what was it, the Constitution, USS Constitution, which was an old wooden ship being restored and serving in active duty in World War II. Just like, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
That you had an old ship just
the basics of them.
Kicking it out into...
The basics of them still function the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
It's buoyant, it's got sails.
Yeah.
Like, move.
And I figure, like, if you're trying to defend at all costs, I mean, use what you have, you know?
Yep.
So, welcome to anyone watching this after the fact. We are Llama and Hyena.
Yep.
We are going to be watching the GW Preview stream here on Twitch and reacting to it. We are very excited about Age of Sigmar 4.0.
Yep.
This stream is dedicated fully to the release box and the upcoming edition. So that is very, very exciting. We will be...
Not sure how long it's supposed to be. And I know at some point tonight they're supposed to tease a bit about how 4th edition plays.
Yeah.
I saw they were doing a couple things where the end of last year, you had the two guys who made it to the World Championship final.
Yep.
Will get to play each other with their armies as they work in 4th. And then, did I see they were partnered with like AEW Wrestling for something?
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
that
it was
is
like
interesting.
Or they were doing it like it was an AEW pay-per-view, like they had guys like in a celebrity pay-per-view style thing.
I hope they have that kind of energy. Oh!
Cut a promo that's ridiculous.
Yep. I'm talking to you.
I hate who you are personally, and so let's settle it in underwear and a ring. Like,
hilarious. Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
The more realms.
I do want to maybe make some last minute maybe guesses at what we're gonna see. I mean, it's probably not a long shot of what we're gonna encounter here. Mostly because this is gonna be starter box. This isn't gonna go above me. But I do want to kind of point out some of the things that I think we're not gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that maybe go above and beyond what the starter box includes. I don't think everything that we're gonna get for either of these two armies, that being Stormcast and Skaven, we're gonna see all of. I mean, I think that's insane to think we're gonna see everything tonight. That being said, I think we're going to see a lot. I think we're going to see basically everything we saw in the teaser trailer is probably going to be shown. Similar to how they did with
40K 10th.
Yes, with that trailer, we saw the Terminators drop in with their character,
the biologist and the librarian.
We literally saw everything that was shown in that.
But then other units for them came out.
Yeah.
Same with the Tyranids.
Yeah. So I would not be surprised if we see that.
In other news in the minutes we have here, speaking of 40K, not to get off track, but they just did a meta watch, but it was just a video. They didn't show. They said what they're looking for is how the recent points update for Warhammer 40K, as well as the brand new codexes all dropping in at once, are going to affect the meta here at this event, because I think some of them are legal.
Okay. I mean, I guess it depends on their cutoff, right? So if the cutoff for books is 2 weeks, then I think some of them squeak in. Tau doesn't, because that's out this weekend coming up.
Right.
Chaos obviously hasn't released yet, so that's not going to be. But Custodes and Orc should be. I mean, that is quick. That is a quick turnaround.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of surprised they allowed those with that short notice, but I think it's exciting to see, results of a new thing.
Yeah, they were just talking about how excited they are to see. So maybe this event, I might have misheard them because it was like on my lunch and I'm just skipping through it. Mm-hmm. But this event might be the last hurrah for the armies as they are.
Okay.
But I think the points changes were in effect, maybe, which could be big for some armies. Some armies really benefited from that, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting too. We brought the stuff. You want to make a whatever? To the kitchen. I don't know. So that'll be interesting to see. It actually got me like wanting to play my Tyranids.
Yeah.
A game of 40k 10th. Because there's also a new season coming out, which looked like mission-wise, objectives-wise, a lot's going to change. They want to feature more battle line stuff.
Right.
Which I think you've talked about before on how it's currently like a pick'em where you can play whatever you want.
Right.
And I think the reason for that is not just to encourage player variety, but it's actually really hard to balance the game, I think, when you put a requirement tax on an army, because 2 HQ3 troop, for example, are not created equal across the armies.
Right.
That's where Loyal 32 came from. For 180 points, you got 2 officers and 30 infantry, whereas Necrons had to spend 600 points to get their 2 plus 3. Yep. So I think they decided they're doing away with that, but let's make a season that incentivizes infantry, because all we're seeing right now is like monsters and tanks.
Right, and what a great way to do it, besides like saying you are required to bring 3 battle line units for an army. It's like the missions this time around will require you to bring things with certain keywords, that being battle line or whatever, it just in order to achieve some of your missions.
Yeah.
So while you don't need to bring them, you probably should.
And it looks like they're borrowing something from our beloved Age of Sigmar, because some of the missions look like they involve like tagging and not necessarily like just having to stay put.
Which is good. I mean, because but it takes away a little the flavor of some of the armies that can already do that, or some of the units that can already do that. I would not be upset if they gave that just all battle line units.
Maybe
that kind of thing,
or at least for the season.
So I mean, I'm okay with them. Maybe taking away some of the flavor of a unit or two in order to improve the overall quality of the gaming experience, right? To make it more tactical.
Well, and a buddy of mine and I, who was going to be in, Rhino was going to be in on our stream, but had some tech issues. He was actually proposing a Tyranid list in particular that was like a paper cut list where you're throwing all this infantry that can bring down big things, but that the big things firepower is wasted on. Yeah. And now there might be even more push for that if battle line are going to be better at scoring than the big things. Which
I think the Tyranids actually have a unique position to use that kind of list, because they've got so much stuff that has such great synergy. You know, I mean, there's tons of lethal hits across that army where it's like you don't really care about the toughness of your target. You just force saves. Which, I mean, as we've seen with some ridiculously difficult to kill models, Catan shards, 1 damage, low strength, just forcing lots of saves on a 50-50 is just the way to go.
And that's so weird for people to think about, because they're like, well, that's a big monster thing.
I got to use the biggest.
I got to use my big monster gun.
Exactly.
Shoot my big monster gun, bounces off of it. What do I do?
Yeah.
When you propose the paper cut idea, they just blink at you like, what?
Why? it's like just do it. Just try it.
Just do it.
You know, like try it one time and see how it goes. I promise it will not disappoint.
Yeah.
It'll feel way better.
Yeah.
Shooting infantry guns and killing a Catan than firing your volcano cannons at it and doing nothing.
Doing nothing. Right. That massive cost you paid for that weapon is now useless, right? Instead, I'll throw my 150 point infantry package at it and bring it down. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I love to see rather large game shakeups. Honestly, I really do.
I do, and the seasons thing, I think they're getting better at it.
Yeah.
Like they're making them so they're not so weird, and the fact that they do this, like the missions within a season are what you can play, not this plus this plus. And that on its own changes the meta without even having to do balance passes.
Yeah.
Although they did also in that video talked about AdMech again. They specifically called out they've been playtesting these rules for them and they're ready to roll them out. So.
And again, AdMech is one of those armies where they book in the book package that was released, they just were not good enough.
Right.
And we've got some players that play AdMech, and they're really down and sour about how good AdMech are. And I'm like, you know what? Wait. You've got 3 other armies. Play someone else for now. Like, right. While that feels bad to say shelf it for a minute, it's also like you're only going to have to shelf it for a minute, right? Yeah. Like give it a couple of weeks.
Yeah, this isn't like shelf it for an edition.
Yeah,
it's.
I mean,
they're clearly
one of the guys I was talking to was saying, "Oh well, they don't make big changes that quickly. I'm going to wait till the end of the year to get AdMech changed." I'm like, no. Like they said that in an article they alluded to right off the heels of a TAO, a points update, which we already did get when they released. There will be a very quick turnaround where they're going to have a chapter approved that has a package included to fix AdMech.
Oh yeah.
Because they are definitely the weakest army that has a book.
Yeah. It's astonishing that they got an update and didn't gain at all.
Right.
Like,
now it's not a bad army. I will say that right now. There are units in that army that are ridiculously good.
Yep.
I think the Dune Crawlers are very, very good, mostly because they are fairly durable vehicles that have invuln saves. Mm-hmm. That goes a long way. They don't have the greatest number of shots.
No.
The volume of fire, but they're still very good.
Right? The Cataphrons.
The Cataphrone Breachers, which are the ones that have the catch-all gun, I'll call it. It's a gun that they have that is really good AP. It's got decent strength for dealing with like infantry, but then it's also anti-vehicle. So like it's only bad targets or monsters.
Yeah.
And even then, you can still shoot and wound most monsters on a 5, and if every fail is 3 damage. Like it's ridiculously good.
You know what I just thought about?
What did you just think about?
What if this is pre-recorded like the Adepticon one?
It may be.
That'd be kind of a bummer.
It would be. We can still react to it.
That was not a good format.
No. I'm hoping they diverge from that format because it was it's kind of a snooze fest. Mm-hmm. It's kind of boring. It was just too long. And I get why they do it, right? Like we had hypothesized they did it just because they did not want any kind of leaks or anything getting out. So they record all the information ahead of time and then just play the video, right? As opposed to like doing dry runs of the presentation and having people peek in and look and get glimpses and then take snapshots and then post them. So
I guess we'll see. I suppose to show off their stuff, they might have a bunch of pre-recorded things.
Yeah.
Here they go.
And it begins. So I'm very excited about this. Just throw that out there.
We don't know if you can hear what they're talking about, but we'll try to comment for you.
It does look like it is a pre-recorded one. It's the same kind of setup.
Yeah.
Where what's this guy's name?
I don't remember his name.
He is sitting in a studio similar to the one we saw at Adepticon. So we are seeing some of the trailer that we had seen before, with the new Liberators being showed off.
Yeah.
We are seeing the some shots of new models that are going to be in that box.
They had both dual hammer and sword and shield.
We've got some kind of lord with a torch and a shield in his back.
Knight Questor.
The Knight Questor is his name.
Oh,
which again replaces all the Knight Questor models before. So it is a four-legged raven, not a two-legged one. Really cool new lord on mount. Super cool. I think there's the new prosecutors, which are super sweet.
Those are the winged boys. Those wings are so much better.
I was worried that maybe for the Skaven side of the box we weren't going to have the rattling guns and the rattling character all included.
Okay.
We will see. Interesting. Wow. Okay, a new Lord Veritant, which was one of my favorite Lord characters that just didn't have great rules in the last edition.
Look at this fella.
This guy is cool. A Lord Terminus.
So is that a new one?
Yes.
That's a new guy.
Big time.
Oh, he's big.
Okay. So, neat.
So 3 characters now.
I will say less than I thought would be included, but still very, very
But those
cool.
are also all $60 kits.
Yes, that is awesome.
Let's see what...
I thought from the photos we had seen that the Griff character was actually riding just a 2-legged bird. Just a straight up bird, just a raven.
You thought that?
I did.
I did.
Because like the way he was sitting on it, it didn't look like it had back legs. I thought it was literally just like like a bird. I've been okay with that.
I tell you what, though, these Stormcast are painters' models.
Yeah.
They designed those to be such stoic characters.
Yeah, pretty amazing. So again, I will point out that it is the same format as before. Studio interviews with the designers.
Yeah, I wonder how. I wonder if this was made around the same time as that one, and they didn't learn yet that this was too much talking. Right. Not that we.
But I will tell you, this is better for an online preview. This format.
Yeah.
Sitting in a room and watching this was not the way to do it.
No. And then it didn't feel special, other than I'm seeing it 2 hours before you, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I will say that that kind of squashes some of the fears of models going away.
Mm-hmm.
There are some really cool models here that, oh man, look at that axe. It is huge. Mm-hmm. There are some really cool models here that could absolutely be targets of some of your old models for War Scroll assignment. That Lord Terminus guy, I think
maybe we'll resend around that list you made that showed people how they can use the models that are going away in the new edition just fine. Because again, people forget, Games Workshop never tells you can't use a model that they have ever made.
Correct.
So that guy's cool.
Yep.
It's interesting that now they have these little, almost like Dark Angels
Watchers. But they are humans. They're not little demons.
No, these are the Watchers
humans, These are attendants to the Stormcast, and
which makes sense.
I think it's an interesting way to add more if they are models that have health. That's the new term for how much damage you can take. It's health.
Because if they're just placeholders of things, then it's kind of a waste of plastic that you're paying for.
Yeah.
It's like whenever you've talked about when there are rules for a model that doesn't stay on the board, why do they make the model?
Right.
Why not just have...
the Burning Head was like that.
Yeah.
It was for a while. It was like...
That guy riding on the big bird dog, that looks pretty good.
Yeah. But it pops out, it moves, it explodes, and it goes away. It's like, why even bother?
Yep.
I can just measure that distance.
Yep.
I really like the new Lord Veritant that they showed off, which again can be, I don't know, like 6 or 7 different models could be that guy. And then any of your Night Questors can be this new Night Questor with sword and torch. So again, those models going away, they're all going to be in this new starter box.
And they're explaining that you have 2 basically chambers or small forces that have come together to fight.
Okay.
So it might be 2 styles of play that they've half and halved.
Sure. But as cool as Stormcast is, I'm excited to see the new rats. So I like this art is cool. This world building is great. They showed off a really cool new piece of artwork from one of the new books, the new campaign book coming out that has a fallen city and Thalia Vedra perched up on top of it, looking at a destroyed city, and it was really cool.
So these ones that have their watchers, not watchers, it sounds like they're the ones that are about to lose everything soul-wise.
Yeah,
like
this is the last bit that's like tethering them to humanity. Is these and their descendants that are following them around. Thank you.
That looks good.
Drink delivery. Don't worry about what it is. Don't worry about it.
It's Capri Sun.
Way less convenient to drink it out of a glass than out of the pouch, though.
Yeah. Well, getting it from the pouch to the glass is...
Yeah.
Let me tell you...
You know, they don't dye Capri Sun anymore. It's all clear.
And it does not make a good mixed drink.
No, it does not. Unfortunately, I'm skipping a lot of their explanations here, unfortunately.
Because otherwise you just listen to them talk forever. And those of us who are at Adepticon endured this, but this looks like it's going to be a little shorter.
Yeah.
And now we're going to get to see the Skaven here, so...
Very exciting for this.
Her hair is very blue.
So I think our stream is falling a little behind, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
So we have Skaven.
Finally.
Okay, so actually, it looks like the Clan Rats, which we had seen, are very, very cool. It looks like the the sniper guy might actually be in this box too.
Oh, he might be. Yeah.
There's a new rat ogre model. There's an individual warp fire thrower.
Oh, that looks great.
Very cool. Multiple head options. Unit of 3, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. We're going to have Clan Molder, Clan Verminus represented. Some Clan Scryer weapon team.
It's like multiple Giselles.
Yep. They were units of 3 before.
There's the Warlock we saw.
Yep. With their sniper leader. We've got the new weapon team on Chariot.
That was called a Warp Blaster.
Yeah. Super cool. This is the one I'm most excited for. Is the Brute Horror. Oh man, that rat looks horrific.
It's called a Nogbeast.
I love it.
Look at that thing.
Wow. That new Warlord
is
great.
That well too. That Grey Seer's perfect.
We saw the Grey Seer silhouette earlier today, and that is.
I mean, that's exactly what he needs to look like. Yeah.
So it looks like that is the contents.
Yeah.
A little less than I was expecting. Honestly, I really was expecting more in that box. We're pretty sure there's Stormvermin coming. Is one unit one unit that's getting updated. It has to be. But again, we didn't get into it, but there were going to be units that weren't included in the starter box that I think were coming still that we haven't.
Seen yet. Here I wonder if they're going to talk about that a little bit. I don't want to just be quiet while they're doing that, but.
Yeah, that is super cool.
Yeah, Warp Blaster was the name of that Gatling thing.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. That's good that they actually overlaid the models there.
Yeah.
That's
which again is something we're missing last time around. Is we weren't seeing
right.
Like more. We weren't seeing what we wanted to see, which was the 360s of the models. We were seeing more like just the people talking,
Well, and the cinematic shots were just so like they were all like sepia, or they were all like
they were so far away that it was like
and
I can't see what's going on.
Yeah, you couldn't separate them from the terrain.
Yeah. So
this is how to do it. This is much better.
Yeah.
I can live with this.
Yeah, I love it. So good.
That's just easier for them to do that than the.
But I mean, they take these like beautiful studio shots anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Why not show them in these videos? So, yeah, super cool, man. Just the new aesthetic is great. It's so fitting.
I think every single clan rat looks good.
Yeah. There was one that I didn't like where it was kind of derpy looking, but that's okay. They don't all need to be rock stars.
Grey Seer's perfect.
Yeah, Grey Seer very evocative of the old one. They had a Grey Seer model very similar to this. That was still plastic, but I mean, just so much character in this one.
Yep.
It's just amazing looking. And I am overlaying some snaps of what we're seeing here in the stream too.
Yep.
Super cool. Man, yeah, so much more like real, so much more like visceral in terms of the aesthetic going on. It's very, very dark.
Yeah.
They take a little bit of the goofiness away from this game, which I don't think is a problem to me.
I think there's goofiness on their own, just with like the way they talk, how they're cowards, but they use that as a weapon of war. They're backstabbers, but again, they use it.
Mm-hmm.
3 Giselle teams. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So they will probably still be a unit.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
They're gonna be.
And it looks like the Rat Ogres might still be.
Yeah. But it's upgraded then. So we saw when they showed off the 3 in there, they were units of 2 before. So units of 3 is way more on character for Age of Sigmar. The only things we saw really in units of 2 were really elite heavy cavalry.
The Dragon Riders,
Dragon Riders. You had the Mournfang cavalry. You had the Dracoths were units of 2. I mean, there was very few things that you couldn't feel more than 4 in a unit. So.
Well, and these are starter box ones, so they might even be like push fit.
Yeah.
And yet they've got very different looks.
Yeah. Oh man, new Rat Ogres look so cool. I wonder if it's going to be a very similar thing as before, where one model in the unit can be equipped with like a gun, and then the other ones are just melee.
Oh,
because the current ones do that. So yeah, I kind of wonder.
I feel like they tried a little harder with the Skaven paint job, because like the the silver that they did on the Stormcast, there were a couple of Liberators where they went with depth and scratches, and then some where it was like, nope, silver. Whereas these, you can see in that gauntlet on that Rat Ogre's left fist there that it had a lot of depth and color in it.
Yeah. Whoa, man, that looks good. I love this one on the right with like the wiffle ball eyes.
Well, those are all different than the one they showed.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
So this is the one they showed. The one in the center is the one they showed. The one on the left here, they showed the head of just that. But you'll notice there's 2 melee variants and only 1 shooting one. So I wonder if they're going to have like that kind of thing where one of them can shoot.
There's that the chariot thing.
And then we have the big view of like the whole box represented here.
That little monster he rides on is great.
Yeah, it's so freaky. Wild.
I like that it's not too big. Because I mean that base size there is like the Dark Oath chieftain. On horse. Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I think it's like melting.
That's a little moldery.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's wild. I love it. But again, I like that they're taking away some of the goofy, right? Like the goofy was fun, but it's like.
Well, I think I'm even that way about, and I'm alone in this camp a lot of times when I dare bring it up. I like it when like orcs got a little more serious looking.
Me too. I was like horrified by the orcs.
When their teeth got sharper looking and their weapons and their size got more brutal looking. And
there was a cinematic where orcs were like walking through this mist, and they were huge. These huge hulking brutes were walking through the mist, and it was an AOS thing. And maybe it was Space Marines. There's very little difference between, Space Marines.
Right.
But it was something where they serioused up the orcs, right? Mm-hmm. The orcs were like walking through this mist, and they were like dead guys laying around or wounded guys laying around, and they were just like systematically executing just guys on the ground. It was like, this is a side of orcs we've not really seen before.
And I know there are some, usually people who've been around forever, and we have too, but who just like won't let go of the goofy pirate version of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I prefer that they are about war. Like, you survive in a galaxy that's about war, or in immortal realms about war, by being brutal. Oh, it looks like they're going to show us a little more here. Sneak peek at the rules.
So obviously with the new edition coming out, there is going to be a new rule book. Where they're expanding out the lore, all the story and what's happened so far, kind of explaining more about what's going on. Mm-hmm. It looks like there will be some sort of campaign supplement right away, in addition to the core rulebook. So Spearhead, Fire, and Jade is what it's called.
To go along with the new game mode, right?
Presumably, yeah.
I love maps.
Yeah, me too. More maps is more better.
Yep. Anything that further explains the world, so good.
Looks like the Spearhead book might just be the starter box. It looks like maybe they've formulated the starter box of Stormcast versus Skaven to be 2 Spearheads, which is interesting. Just confirming some of the characters that are still in the story. A lot of new models, obviously, are staying. I did see the Celestin Prime there in the background, so that dude is sticking around, which is good, because I'm kit bashing one. I do not want him going away, because I have a horrible track record.
Yep.
I kit bash a model, I make a custom model, it immediately gets discontinued. Yeah. It's just how it goes.
I actually am. I'm rarely ever interested in game modes other than match play.
But this one is
but the Spearhead seems so cool.
It's so similar.
And the fact that you can just
faster.
Grab a box and that's your Spearhead army.
Yeah.
That is super cool to me. You never have to add to that.
Yeah.
In fact, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, great way to do. We'll probably do that at the store for entry level to get people into it.
Yeah.
Because as far as we know, they use the same core rules.
Right. So again, because they've broken up the rules into modules, the Spearhead uses a reduced module set in order to play the game with. So you still have like the core rules, but the advanced rules for Magic and stuff just aren't there. allegiance abilities and spell lores, that kind of thing. And so they were saying that the Spearhead datasheets contain maybe one spell from the expanded rules on their datasheet, on their war scroll, to be able to be used, but they don't have access to like the lore of Magic.
Yeah.
And so it's a little simpler that way.
Now they're talking about how they want to explore what the regular people deal with in the Mortal Realms, which again, world building.
Which again is great because that is a big mystery when it comes to Age of Sigmar.
Because it started off so like distant from basic people. I mean, we didn't even have a human faction for a while.
Right. It was just godlike beings battling each other, and it was like, well, give me more than that.
Yeah.
This is kind of.
Yeah.
But it was also like. It was also kind of in the era of mythical tales, right?
Yep.
Where gods were battling one another. We didn't have, a perspective of what people were doing in the time of Odysseus. Where like there was titans fighting one another. You focus on the titans, the mythical part. You didn't like stop to take a look at what people were doing. So I don't know.
So here they were talking a little bit about how they were gonna like get some balance in the game. In the core rules, no matter which mode you're playing, again, they focused on they want both players to be able to do stuff in any phase of the game.
Right.
Which
I think the idea of having a comeback mechanic is also really important, at least from the designer's perspective.
An underdog type
just
thing.
Because you don't want to feel like you're getting blown out and then you're down and you're out of the game. Right?
Because there's a lot of games where you feel the inevitability where it's like, well, something happened a couple of sequences in a row that set me so far back that my opponent gets to be in coast mode and I have to scratch and claw for everything.
If even possible.
And so then you just like scoop. And I've seen that in card games, tabletop games, whatever. Yep. And they've tried more and more, Games Workshop has, to mitigate that, to give some momentum swing. Some people don't like that because then it feels like you can never stay ahead. Right.
But I was winning, and then they got a comeback mechanic that triggered, really lucky and now they came and they beat me when I was winning the whole time. It's like, but that makes for a closer, more fair game.
Yeah, and giving a player an ability to come back, that's realistic in competition even, right? How many times do you see sports teams that fall behind and they start the comeback, right? If they just quit when they got down, every game ends in the second quarter, right? So I think this is good for the game, and I imagine they're not going to make it so it's just pure luck to come back. Right. They'll be balancing elements to it.
Some strategic ploys, some Hail Mary type
resources
of thing.
On and,
absolutely. Yeah. Or the fact that you gain more resources if you're behind means that you have that momentum to try to come back.
Oh.
So the new core book is including the first General's Handbook of the season
in card form,
which is cool.
I like this move to cards. I mean, I know we talk about how they need to move to digital for the codex.
But a card isn't printed rules. A card is a gaming supplement. It's a gaming accessory.
And I think there's a certain, there's something about tokens and cards that feel official, right? Instead of marking stuff with dice, or pens and paper. Oh. Now they're going to talk to us about ways to play.
I hope there's more models shown. I will say that.
They might only should be showing us the box.
Yeah. Looks like, is that new terrain? I think that's new terrain.
It might be. There's a scaling symbol on one
I don't recognize. Well, that's just a paint job though. But like some of these terrain pieces, I don't recognize. I think they are
new for this event.
Yeah. But like the model itself had like a hanging bell in the side. I don't think that's been seen before.
So the rest of this is going to be like storytelling, maybe.
Which is fine. I'm cool with that. Show me some. What's going on? What's going on in the new edition? What's the battlefield look like?
What are you into nowadays?
We do know that Skaven Blight City has been raised up out of the ground outside of a major city within the Realm of Fire. So that's a big issue.
Yeah, they're talking about Spearhead some more. The paint job on the croc score is actually pretty good.
Specially tailored rules.
Tailored rules. Love that.
What about second breakfast?
Yeah. It had a hobbit.
It did. It really, really did. So I really like the way that they're setting this up. The war scrolls are very simple.
Yeah.
You only need to buy a specific battle force to play, which I love.
And they apparently tried to balance it around what comes in those boxes.
And the cards look surprisingly simple.
Yeah.
To like set up the battlefield and everything. It looks pretty great. You're playing on a very small board even like this.
Yeah.
Interesting. And this is the Crimson and Jade or whatever they were talking about. Season comes with a specific board to fight these.
The season is on those two battlefields.
These two boards. And you don't have to set up terrain. You don't have to set up, well, I mean, maybe terrain, but you don't have to set up like zones where your objectives are going to be. They're actually built into the board.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool.
That terrain might be new.
Yeah, it's got to be. I don't. It's similar to the existing one, but it is new.
I imagine they're going to have a box. Skulls. They're going to have the spearhead box that comes with those, probably.
I think it might be in the starter box.
Might be.
Personally, I think it will be.
Yeah, that's cool. And a way to play quick games with the basic rules. Like, you want to get comfortable with the core rules before you worry about the advanced stuff. Throw down a spearhead game in 40 minutes. Like,
pretty good.
That'll get me to buy models
I like that new Lord Veritant model where he's got like the blindfold on. It looks really good. Man. So
it might be all the models we see.
Yeah.
Because their other preview event is on Saturday.
Which unfortunately I don't think we're going to be able to do a live event for that.
No.
We'll talk about it next Thursday when we record. So new episode will be out Friday.
Because they are going to show us 40K. It was 40K Kill Team, Warcry, Necromunda, maybe?
Yeah. It was all 40K games.
Or Legion Imperialis, I think might be the other one.
Whew. Man, I really like those new
well, that whole box is just you.
Rat Ogres, yeah. They're great. I like they didn't creep them up. So I was thinking it would be very cool if they had like a Rat Ogre Behemoth type of thing where it was gargantuan. It was a very large rat. But I like that the normal Rat Ogres are just ogre size.
They're still on 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means that all my Rat Ogres that I have aren't invalidated.
Right.
By the way. So which is great.
Yep. They really like to do that. I mean, people freak out when models go away or change, and it's like, you guys are forgetting that, again, official GW models, you can use them forever.
Yeah.
If you have the right base or it's a reasonable profile.
I will say too that I didn't talk about it earlier, but when we saw the Skaven Warlord on the horrific rat beast,
right.
He has some chaos mutations going on. He's got a horn growing out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing like full plate armor. He is very bedecked with
their allegiance is still chaos, right?
Yeah, but like we haven't really seen mutations within the Skaven recently in models. Right, we haven't seen.
You have to go back to the old Boulder days.
Yeah, or Blood Bowl had one of the Skaven traits for that team was mutations. You can grow extra arms and double second head and things like that. It's very cool.
So now they're explaining the underdog mechanic a bit.
There also is more terrain in that set that they didn't show us.
To be possibly new.
Yeah, so there might be even more terrain coming.
So they're going to have
ruined
twists
cities and stuff
that the underdog can use.
Which again, I really like. I like the idea of having. I think back to like 6th edition 40K. There was a sort of a board-wide effect that was in play for most of the battle, where you'd have to deal with it for that battle, and you would draw it randomly. You'd randomly determine what was in play for this. This game. I really like the idea of having to fight around, to battle the environment in addition to your opponent. And you both have the same kind of restrictions. I really like that. It makes a battle less formulaic. It makes a good general need to think a little bit to win. Because you have to now you're encountering something you weren't planning on. You need to gotta make quick decisions. Too much of some games are just so. I win because I've planned out my turns.
Well, they're so solved that an exact sequence can happen to win.
Yeah.
Which then, are you really a great general if you just like followed the 1, 2, 3?
Right.
I know they're doing something like that in the update to 40K coming in the new season for their instead of gambits now they're going to have the secret missions or whatever.
Right.
It's kind of neat.
They were talking about how in this next season, when they're introducing this new game mode, there is a trade-off that you can do with the randomly determined missions that you get. Is you can choose to try to score them, or you can use a powerful like command mechanic in order to have an in-battle effect that kind of skips trying to get victory points, but might get you ahead in terms of being able to outdo your opponent combat-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Spearhead's super cool. I am very interested in learning what the full game is like, but we are going to see a Spearhead game tonight after this. We're going to stream one.
And I think this Spearhead mode is one of the best entry modes they've ever come out with. Because it still teaches you the core rules of the game.
Yep.
So the whole box set, called Skaven Tide.
Yep. They are push fit models, just because they are starter.
50 of them are Skaven.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 50 out of 74 are Skaven.
So if we do the math there for 50, 20 clan rats?
Yeah. It's got to be.
More? More than 20 clan rats? 40 clan rats? 3 characters? 2 rat ogres, 2 weapon teams, one...
Well, it's 3 rat ogres in the box.
Yeah, 3 rat ogres, 3 weapon teams, or 3 of the Giselles, 3 characters.
So it's 9.
And then artillery piece.
10.
Yeah, plus 40 clan rats.
So
I think it's going to be 40 clan rats.
Well,
if the number's 50, that's what it's got to be.
Well, they might come in boxes of 20 when they come out on their own.
I mean, they do now, so I would not be surprised.
Because they look similar size. They're just way better.
Super cool. 40 clan rats. Yep.
That's awesome.
So this is the first place you do get the core rule book, which absolutely makes sense. You get the General's Handbook.
That
stuff
is
included.
a big deal.
Yeah,
that is a big deal. The fact that it's, I hope they do that going forward. We don't need a spiral bound book. I think just a card pack.
Yeah.
That's all right.
And again, you get one of each of the characters, which is Master Clan, a Scryer, Warlock.
Well, and with the Stormcast, sounds like the same. It's like 2 different styles together. With the Skaven, you get 3 different styles of characters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Clan Verminous, Molder, and Scryer together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Rat Ogres look so good. And I really like the black color scheme they chose for this group.
That Rally War Blaster's great. I actually think that's even better than what I thought it was when I saw it in the sprue. Gnaw Beast. What a creepy creature.
Mm-hmm.
I love how lanky he is. He's got that long fur that's just like clumpy, and whereas that guy's the opposite. Pristine, pretty feathers, right?
I think one of my favorite models in that box, though, is the Shaggy Griffhound.
Hey, there's a trident.
Yeah.
That I could have waited for.
Yeah. Oh, Lord Terminus is so cool.
Yeah.
Griff Crow. It's not a Griff Hound anymore. It's a Griff Crow. Love it.
So Bird?
Real bird. No, he's still got 4 legs though. So, but he's more pointy beaked. He's less like eagle-y. He's more crow-like. So.
There you go.
So you do get the new terrain set in there as in addition to the board.
Or is this the spearhead thing they're showing?
This is the same starter box, I think.
Oh, I thought that was for the spearhead. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, that's all the contents of the starter box. So it is 2
two versions of the game.
2 versions of the game in one, and it is both spearheads for both armies.
Yeah.
So neat.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome. And again, there will be an article up if you're interested in looking at more closely. There is going to be an article up, obviously. But again, there's stuff we didn't see here that we think that they think is coming, right? We haven't seen anything in terms of plague. Maybe they'll have something plague related for Skaven. We haven't seen. We had some rumors, right, that other things were coming. New acolytes for Clan Scryer, Globadiers.
Well, And not to like be on rerun, but like when Space Marines and Tyranids were previewed, we didn't see everything they were getting.
Correct.
And then that came out.
Again, this was literally like
they did a preview event
this
then
was
after
the box. Right.
That was online only.
Right.
Where what was it? The players voted.
Yeah.
The fans voted to see what they wanted, and then the Tyranid stuff was shown off first.
Yeah.
And it was so many more models than what they just got in the starter.
I very much expect to see a very similar thing to that. Because there's...
I think both have a lot coming.
That was a ton of stuff for Skaven that needed to be updated. But again, we're not seeing the other clans. Like, we saw Clan Rats, we didn't see the Storm Vermin.
Well, and they can also surprise us with something completely new.
Yeah.
You know, that was like the Norn Emissary. It was like, well, never seen that before.
But Storm Vermin are very, very iconic to the army, though. I think
they're surprised they got updated.
Else.
Right? It was like we knew one of the Gaunts were getting updated. We didn't also know Armor Gaunts and Gene Stealers were also getting updated. So I think Skaven's going to see that. I actually think the Skaven release will parallel a lot like the Tyranids because they're both horde-y with supporty monsters kind of thing.
Yeah,
they might get it. They might get a big centerpiece-y thing. That
would be cool because the what's it called? The Hell Pit Abomination, while cool, is very old and not centerpiecey. Yeah. There were rumors that we're going to get a new Vermin Lord too. So I mean, there's still potential for new centerpiece through that, something like that too. So
it could even be if they decide to support Skaven in 2 games, that some of that moves to Old World and we get AOS versions.
I hope they just cut. I hope they just cut them from Old World. Don't worry about it.
Even with different names, like that was not a brood horror. That was a Gnaw Beast, like a totally new thing.
But if you're trying to tell me I'm not going to use my Skaven Claw Lord on brood horror as that guy, we're going to have a fight.
We're going to have some words. Just put them on the same base and you're good to go. Yep. Again, a use for it. They even went kind of. They went a little try hard on that banner on the Clan Rats. Yeah. Unless that's a decal. I mean, but still, I think the Rat Ogres are winners. To me, they're like that. What was the Kroot Cavalry?
The 3 Rampagers.
The 3 Kroot. Those were like a surprising winner in that tower release. I think the Rat Ogres are.
I was not surprised that the Rat Ogres really looked so good. I mean, they had so many examples of Rat Ogres. Yeah. They've had Rat Ogres that looked phenomenal in the game Vermintide for a long time. That they just need to base that off of that. So, and then in Total War as well. So the video game, the digital representations of them have been very good.
As someone who doesn't even play either army, I think every model in that box looks good. Like I really like all of them.
Yeah, if I didn't play them, it would still be tempting.
Yeah,
it's still very cool.
Still,
even if it's just for like we said, the Spearhead game mode, just to be able to play. That's all you need right there.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what the difference is in their diet, because that Gnaw Beast just looks like it's starved to death. Yeah. Whereas Rat Ogres, they get their protein, they get their fat, like they.
Speaking of though, I could eat.
We could stuff like Rat Ogre.
Yeah, let's go. Thank you for joining us on the stream. We'll be back next Thursday. For our standard recorded one. If you have any questions or you have any comments, let us know what you think of about the preview.
I want to see what you want to hear us talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So until then, we'll see you next time.